my story is a little different. I was a former college athlete. And so I had this identity, when I was a young professional. Yeah, I'm an athlete. I got this, right? And so the challenge though was like, I totally went all in, kind of like you, micro-focused, hyper-focused on like professional success. And then professionally in the world of high finance, it's so easy to basically have markers, right? So your first role, you're gonna hit 100K plus and you're gonna a bonus beyond that. Great. Okay. The next metric is like, are you making 1 million annually? Great. Like, and then 1 million plus, that those metrics were hit. And it's like, for me, it wasn't ultimately sustainable, right? Because while I was hitting those professional metrics, I was just making these suboptimal like life choices, right? I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating right, too much in and out, right? These things that just led me to like looking healthy professionally on LinkedIn, but feeling like, total awful, like just terrible, right? I just wasn't doing anything, health-wise, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I think I went through this phase, and this is a little embarrassing to admit, but like went through this phase of getting fancy cars, like, a Ferrari for one example, a BMW i8. And the funny thing was like, I realized after I got these, like not immediately, but a few days later, I'd be getting buyer's remorse, right? And it's just like, and little things would set me off. This is super embarrassing to admit, but I would see like somebody with a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti, like somebody like saw a car that's much nicer. And I'd be like, and like just set off. And you're just like, why, right? And I realized in retrospect, I was really just trying to kind of, paper over the issues I had with like my health. And this is kind of tough to admit, but like, I just didn't like looking at myself in the mirror daily. And it's just like, I viewed myself as an athlete, right? I thought I was an athlete, but when I look at myself in the mirror in the morning, I was like, where are they at? And so I think that had some issues with me downstream. And, mentally, like and this is like a really funny photo. It's true though. Like mentally, I was just like, always like downstream, not really happy all the time. This is like the worst. When I was a total blob. Today, thanks to Dr. Ryan's intervention, it took time. It didn't happen overnight, but today I'm like back normally. I didn't realize that getting abs like for the first time in decades would have such it sounds very vain, but have such downstream effects on like my mental state. Like I feel like I'm more stable, more happier, like more positive. And when things go wrong, right? L's, we call them losses. I embrace them, right? Because like every L leads to a W, and you got to get the L's in. And so it kind of reminds you like a story that I was watching this. The Rock was talking to the Lakers. His success, peak of his success, he still sets an anchor, and his anchor is a 4:30 a.m. workout, and that's the intention for his day. And it's just amazing that no matter what he's done, he always finds time to do that, right? One of the mentors that we are really look up to is Ray Dalio, and he basically has this really interesting kind of graph about progress and about personal success, and this kind of applies to a lot of our founders, entrepreneurs, and business owners and executives, right? And so those individuals are really good at kind of working through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? For everyone else, like people that depend on them, their employees, like people they mentor, right? But sometimes maybe they're like me, where like you get stuck in these like negative cycles where you don't have somebody helping you out with. I didn't have that, and I would kind of negatively spiral downward. And I think success is like really processional, like not overnight for me. And micro adjustments are required. And so like I'd assume like Dr. Ryan is really big on the big 3, which is like diagnostic testing. What's wrong with you? What your constraints are, right? What does they tell us? Like, how do we customize your daily habits of hydration and workouts? And how do we program you? How do we have accountability, if it's biweekly Zooms or our app or tracking? And really, how do we kind of speed it all up with therapeutics and supplements and things that can kind of reverse your internal function, right? And so even 20-year-olds can quote unquote rent Ferraris and nice cars and Bugattis on something called Turo, right? And so that like it hollows out like the idea of having a fancy car, but just getting back to it, like a physique or anything, career success or anything, that can't be taken away from you, right? It's something that you have to like really commit to, something you have to build. I'm just amazed how simple like tidbits like optimizing your physique and just kind of getting to that level that you're happy with, that you're super happy with the look of the person in the mirror, that has so many downstream effects interpersonally, professionally, and so on.